Happy Wednesday, everyone. We got another beautiful day out here in DC. I hope you are ready to get at a very, very aggressive workout. I'm excited for this one. I hope you're feeling excited too. Here's what we got. We're going to start with our warm-ups. We got a lot of jump rope today. If you have a jump rope and a space with which to use it, get at a good 3-minute jump rope warm-up. Get yourself moving, jumping, get your ankles ready. After that, we're going to do some wall-facing squats. So find a wall, inside, outside, wherever you are. Hands are up, overhead, and then we're pulling those hips back and pushing those knees out and tracking nice and slow with our wall-facing squats. Just get as low as you comfortably can with good control. We don't want to be falling down every time we're doing these, although if you're trying to push your depth a little bit lower and find that maximum position, it's okay if you fall back once or twice. Next, we're doing some wrist pulses. You guys should know these by now. We use these quite often. We're going to be utilizing some weight overhead, so get your wrists warmed up. Side to side pulses, forward and back, fingers forward, fingers back, even palms up can be good. Just wherever you're feeling tight, stay in that range and work a bunch of pulses. I always try to do at least 20, depending on which ones I'm doing. Next, some T-spine rotations. We'll stay down on the ground, one hand behind the head. We point the elbow down, and we draw that elbow up nice and high. Try to look to the ceiling. Look up as you draw your elbow up and help to warm up that mid-back space. Next, some crab glute bridges. Again, we use this one a lot, so you guys should be pretty familiar. Heels are in close, hands behind you, press up as high as you can. Elevate those hips nice and high. Can even add a little twist rotation to it if that feels good. Feels good for my shoulders. We're trying to get the shoulders and the hips warmed up. Lastly, we did these ones yesterday, those Kang squats, hands behind your head. It's a combination of a good morning deadlift hinge, and then we send it down into the bottom of the squat, hips back, knees out, chest up, and then stand. Hinge back, belly tight, elbows pulled back, drop down, shift to a squat, stand up, and then anything else that you need, right? So once you feel warmed up, here's what we got. We are doing open WOD 18.3. This was a pretty crazy one. It's 2 rounds for time of a ton of work with a pretty tight time cap. So the idea here is that you're doing as much as you possibly can within the time cap. You might get time capped, which is fine. Don't worry about that too much. Just work for as much as you possibly can. So what we have is 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds of double unders, 100 reps of double unders. That's a lot. If you have the double unders, but 100 seems like it's going to take you 10 minutes to do, then we'll probably want to scale that number down. We can do 75, we can do 50, pick a more reasonable number if that's what you need. And then in between, we have a bunch of different movements. So we have 20 overhead squats. These were with the barbell for the open WOD. Most of you are not going to have a barbell at home, so this is a good time to utilize that and practice that single arm overhead squat. So maybe with a dumbbell or a kettlebell, I'm going to put that weight overhead, bring my feet to my shoulder width, and then kicking the hips back, trying to stay fairly level and even as I squat. And I would just do 10 per side, so 10 on my left, 10 on my right, So 20 total. We have ring muscle ups. Again, I'm going to assume most of you don't have any rings hanging from the ceiling for you to do a bunch of ring muscle ups, which is fine. So if some of you who do have some rings, I know some of you do out there, but maybe you can't do muscle ups, do ring rows, right? You can even work that false grip ring row, and it's really great practice. You could even turn it into a muscle up transition as your scaled movement. Otherwise, we're just going to turn it into hand release push-ups, right? So 12 hand release push-ups, nice and strong. I can even do these from my knees if I need to. We're trying to keep that hip and shoulder line together as we move. Third round, we have dumbbell snatches. So this is with your single weighted object. Again, it's 10 per side, 10 left, 10 right. Right? These will be from the ground. If I'm doing it with the dumbbell, I'm just going to try to alternate each time. So I'm here, I can switch in the air, or or I can switch off the ground, but notice my other arm is out, my chest is up, my knees are out, and I drive nice and strong overhead. Can also do these as kettlebell snatches. Kettlebell snatches a little bit trickier with getting that strong turnover overhead, but just try to keep it close. We don't have to alternate on these necessarily unless you want to. I think that's gonna help you get a feel for kind of how the workout was if you don't have a dumbbell. Or use your weighted bag, backpack, whatever you got. And then our last one is bar muscle-ups. Hey, some of you have some pull-up bars at home. Maybe don't do bar muscle-ups, but maybe some chest-to-bar pull-ups would be awesome. Try to maybe do 12 strict pull-ups. I'm actually gonna add that onto the list. Strict pull-ups. Or we can scale it to renegade rows. So if you have 2 dumbbells, then we can have our 2 dumbbells and we can do our renegade rows, left and right, boom, right? Or maybe just my 1. I'll do 6 here, and then I'll go 6 here as I keep myself nice and tight. And there's your 12 movements. So 2 rounds total. If you are able to finish both rounds, then your score is your time. If you didn't finish both rounds, then your score is your total reps. So just add up all the reps. If you were somewhere in this range, right, your score is gonna be like 300 reps, 200 and something reps, 400 and something reps, something like that. So there's a lot to do. Stay focused on good movement, especially through the jumps with your double unders. It's all about control. I say this every single time double unders come up in the classroom. If you're throwing your arms all over the place, it's gonna mess you up. So we're just trying to keep everything nice and tight. My hands stay in place, my elbows stay in place, and that pike jump is nice and consistent every single time, right? Control consistency is how we get through a lot of reps of that. So let's go take a look at the board together. So plenty of warm-ups here to get you ready. Of course, do anything else you need to do. And then here's the workout. Plenty of scales for the more advanced gymnastic movements. So do the best you can. Rock and roll on this one. It's gonna be a hard test. Have fun with it. See you guys tomorrow.